Welcome to the Fright Lab. I'm Lucas Yoakum. It is the 18th entry of the 2025 31 Days of Halloween, 31 Days of Horror, 31 for 31 challenge, whatever you guys are calling it. We hope you're enjoying it because we are. And man, I watched a really, really great movie for this one. And that movie is Offseason. I may be selling it a little too hard to say it's really, really great. I really enjoyed it. I know that it's not the most popular of films. I know that the critical reception's been a little, a little tepid, a little lukewarm, which is a shame because I think it's a pretty good movie and it does some stuff that I really like, and I think it does it very, very competently. But we're going to leave that up to you guys to decide what you think after we talk about this movie just a little bit. So, Offseason 2021 is about a person being asked to do the worst sort of family errand possible, specifically a part of someone's last will and testament. Now, it is, of course, very important to do these things for a person, even after they're gone. I think it goes without saying that that's the correct thing to do. But some of those errands are real hard. And we're not just talking about cleaning out someone's closet and getting rid of their old clothes. No. We're talking more about drive out to a mysterious island with your maybe off and on romantic partner and figure out why their grave has been vandalized and discover that things are much, much weirder on this little island town. That's roughly the plot, in case you hadn't guessed. So a little bit about this movie that I think works really well. You know, whether or not this movie is good or bad is always going to be a matter of the audience, right? But this movie kind of brings up something I've been thinking about for a little bit. There's only so many horror stories to tell, right? Yes, there is such a thing as too many remakes or too many versions of a story that don't work or whatever. But, you know, no one gets angry when someone tries to do Frankenstein. I mean, we've had 3 Nosferatus, the original, and then the 2 major release ones. And apparently there was one floating around on Tubi recently that's very low budget and pretty terrible. I haven't bothered with it. You get the idea. But some stories are going to be told and retold, and Offseason plays with some ideas pretty much straight out of H.P. Lovecraft, specifically The Shadow over Innsmouth. Fans of that story will already have an idea of how the plot goes, but if you guys haven't read Shadow over Innsmouth, don't worry, you don't need to go read it to appreciate this film. I think it does really, really well, taking those elements out of their kind of 1920s time frame and putting them in like the 1970s, it looks like. Either way, I think the film works really well in that regard, and it's very enjoyable for that reason. But yeah, so some things to like about this movie. To start, this movie has not quite a cameo role, but a very small role played by the famed horror character actor. You've seen him in a million movies. If you've watched a Rob Zombie movie in the last 5 years, you know him. You're probably terrified of him. Richard Brake. He brings this lean fearsomeness, this kind of vague, almost backwoods evil. Brake's a great actor, and I really appreciate anytime I see him because I know he's about to do something wild and terrifying. So, you know, that's always cool. The film was actually also filmed, coincidentally, in New Smyrna Beach, which is in Florida. Apparently, it's about an hour away from Daytona. And despite the film not really shying away from being this kind of quasi-tropical flora and fauna kind of place, like it's visibly Florida, but the way the film is lit the entire time and the way the colors are used, like the color palette throughout the movie, it feels very New Englandy, and that's a neat trick to pull off. It's kind of disorienting because you're expecting it to look like either New England or Florida, and it kind of gives you both and neither. It's a neat trick. The actor Joe Swanberg, he plays the main character Marie's boyfriend, off and on boyfriend George. He does this neat thing with the role where his character is supposed to be kind of whiny and kind of annoying, but he's also, for being unlikable, he's also maybe the most reasonable person in the entire film. He almost feels like an audience stand-in in a way, because he's the one pointing out exactly how fucking insane the circumstances of this film, like the plot, are. So he's a cool character, and I think it was he was casted really well ultimately. So the movie also reminds me of a 1981 horror flick called Dead and Buried. It's an early Robert Englund film. He plays a kind of a side character in it. Dead and Buried is very strange, but it kind of features some similar things, some similar beats, if you will. You do see a lot of like, spooky thing happening on a beachfront town that's not quite explained, and it's very scary, and it doesn't really explain why it's scary until later on. Dead and Buried is a good one. It is a touch longer, and it's much slower than Offseason. It has a much colder, cooler pace. So, if you want a kind of similar vibe, but you're looking for a different film, this is a good choice. Also, some of the elements of Offseason are very Silent Hill. A couple of shots I think might have been directly taken from it. But here again, does a film need to be original to be good? Well, I think that depends on who you're talking to, right? So case in point, Slant Magazine had a review of this when it came out and said that the movie was quote unquote regurgitating old ideas. And a reviewer at RogerEbert.com called it mind-bogglingly unoriginal. I'm not sure I fully agree. I mean, yes, again, it is using familiar horror tropes and is based on familiar horror source material in a couple of spots. But I don't know that makes it regurgitating, I don't know that makes this film like unwatchable or mind-bogglingly unoriginal. It is not a new story. I'll grant that. I think that's fair. But it is a good story told well with I think really solid acting for the most part. And it is not a movie that relies on special effects terribly much. It is extremely crushingly atmospheric. It dials in early and doesn't let you go at any point. And I really think that was smart and enjoyable. The acting is pretty good. I don't know that it's any Oscar awards in there, but I don't trust the Oscars for what it's worth. I think there are a lot of movies that deserve Oscars that don't get them and vice versa. So yeah, Offseason is a cool movie. I don't know that it is a great film, but it is a good film. It is again a little Silent Hill by way of Shadow over Innsmouth, but that doesn't sound bad to me either. If that's how you described it to me in passing, I'd say, that sounds like it's up my alley. But you guys probably already guessed that, knowing this show and knowing me a little bit as a result. So yeah, that's Offseason. I'm glad that I watched it, and it's something I had watched kind of initially when it first dropped, and then rewatching it now has been a real treat, and I really enjoyed it. Should you watch it this month with the remaining time of October? Should you watch it? I don't know that it replaces any classics you might be saving for the end of the month, and I don't know that it's what I'd call essential watching. It is not an essential film, but it is a good film. I haven't really had too many moments of pure stinky film in this whole season, so I'm pretty happy with that. So yeah, Offseason. Have you seen it? And if so, what do you guys think? Did you enjoy Offseason? Is there another spooky beachfront horror town movie I should be watching? You guys should let me know. And you can let us know by reaching out to us at thefrightlabpodcast@gmail.com. We can be found on YouTube as well as all of your major streaming platforms. We are on social media. For some reason, it's good to get the word out, I'll grant, but it is social media, and you can guess how I feel about it. But we're available on basically every social media platform at The Fright Lab. You can just find us. Also, we are on Discord. Again, just look for The Fright Lab. Also, check basically any episode that isn't just me talking, and you'll have the link to that. So, in the meantime, friends, siblings, The Fright Lab podcast is written and researched by me, Lucas Yoakum. And when we're not doing these short episodes, it is also co-hosted by the one and only amazing producer, Joseph Wren. We appreciate each and every one of you, and we will talk to you all again very soon. And hey, we're halfway through the month. Enjoy your October, okay?